Hi everybody, Gary Hussey from the Bournemouth Clinic of Osteopathy and Acupuncture. I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about pulse diagnosis because it's the main diagnostic tool that I use. It's a massive subject, so I can't cover it all. I'll give you a little flavour, an overview, a very superficial one. So pulse diagnosis is very ancient. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years. It's used all over the world, or it was used all over the world. In the last 200 years in Europe, we used to use pulse diagnosis in Europe in the Middle Ages, hundreds of years ago, but it fell, or it became less and less used as the medical establishment moved towards the poisons, which later became known as pharmaceuticals and the pharmaceutical industry. So pulse diagnosis fell into total disrepute in Europe. But it's still prevalent the whole world over. You know, they use it in Ayurvedic medicine, Japanese medicine, Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, all these different places. So what we have in pulse diagnosis is we have the possibility to feel what's happening. If you can hear that noise, there's an air show going on, so I have to apologise. You can feel what's happening within each internal organ system. So in the human body there are 10 internal organs, and in Chinese medicine we actually have 12 pulses. There's 6 on each arm, and on the left arm we have the possibility of feeling the small intestine, the heart, the gallbladder, the liver, the bladder and the kidney, and on the right hand we have the possibility of feeling the colon, the lung, the stomach, the spleen, and there's 2 other organs that are more obscure. They're called the heart protector and the 3 heaters. Now these are specific to Chinese medicine, so I'm not going to talk too much about those now. And then also, when you take the pulse, we have the possibility of feeling all of the layers of energy. And so in the body, the energy of the body is set up like an onion. It's in layers, and it has to be like that because it has to be set up with protection in mind. We can't allow things to come from the outside like viruses. They can't penetrate the system. So it has to be arranged in the layers of an onion. And so we have this one layer, which is, you could say, circulating in the skin, and then the one underneath is another layer of chi, and it's circulating in the muscles, and then we have another layer underneath, and this layer is serving the ligaments and maybe the joints, and then we have another layer underneath that, and we're getting closer and closer to the actual internal organ system, and then there's another layer underneath that, and this is the layer that deals with the hormones and bringing of the genetic material. And we have the possibility to feel all of these layers. Now, and obviously there are different pathologies associated with different layers. Maybe I'm not going to go into this too much because it's just too involved. Maybe I'm just going to spend a few minutes talking about what you can actually feel on the pulse. We have the possibility of feeling emotions. So let's take, just picked out of the air, let's take shock. Maybe the shock of a bereavement. Let's take that as an example. So there's a specific thing that happens in the pulse if you are in shock from a bereavement, and that is, well, one or 2 things actually. It affects the heart. It affects the energy of the heart. And so the energy of the heart will either become empty or it will become too full, it becomes stagnant. And so these things can be if they can be found, they can be found on the pulse. If they can be found, they can be treated. If it's a bereavement that's gone on far too long, bereavement is normal, it doesn't necessarily need treatment. And we also have the possibility to feel, the quantity of energy through the whole meridian system. We have the possibility to feel, say for example, different types of heat. So examples of heat would be alcohol, which gives heat in the liver, Smoking, which gives heat in the lungs, gives heat in the liver. Radiation, this is mostly affecting also the chi of the liver. So all these things can be felt on the pulse. And then maybe also coldness. Viruses and bacteria. Viruses, when they invade the human body, they change the pulse. So we have the possibility of feeling if there's a virus present, if there's a bacteria present. And like I say, if you can find it, then we have the possibility of removing it. Pulse diagnosis is the most, it's the diagnostic form that I most lean on in clinic. So when you come and see me, if you come and see me, after our consultation, I'll get you to lie down, and what I'll be doing for the following few minutes is diagnosing the pulse. And what I'll be looking for is exactly what we've just discussed that I've written down in the case history. And if I can find it in the pulse, fantastic. Then we can make a plan, and we can start to either sedate this bad energy that shouldn't be there from the system, or whatever we need to do. So I'm going to give you a really quick, another really quick example of how you would use pulse diagnosis. Again, pulled out of a hat. Psoriasis. If someone comes to see me with psoriasis, now what psoriasis is immature cells that are pushing through and getting to the surface of the skin before they're ready to be skin, and so it manifests as sores. And psoriasis is an autoimmune disease. And so what this is, this might sound kind of strange, but in Chinese medicine, the dermis of the skin is controlled by the energy of the liver, and it's heat in the body which speeds things up. Cold slows things down, and so psoriasis is heat in the liver. Actually, it's what we call autoreactive heat, which is heat that has the possibility of creating an auto-antibody. But I don't want to get too involved in that. If you're interested in autoimmunity, then please refer. There'll be a video on my website that talks about autoimmune disease in detail. So we go to the pulse, and what we are looking for is some kind of heat in the pulse of the liver. And if we can find it, and we have to find it, if we can find it, then we have the possibility of manipulating the meridian system in various ways to start to excuse me, cool down this heat or remove this heat from the body. And if we can do that, then the patient will get changes. Okay, I think that's enough pulse diagnosis. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.